Arian walked the dimly lit streets, his hands deep in his pockets, his heart heavier than the rejection letter crumpled in his grip. The neon lights of the city flickered above him, their glow a stark contrast to the darkness that clouded his thoughts. He had failed again. Another job interview, another rejection. His dreams felt like grains of sand slipping through his fingers. He had tried everything, studied harder, applied everywhere, yet every door he knocked on remained firmly shut. Was he just not meant for success? Was he chasing something that was never his to have? His entire life had been a battle. In school, he was never the top student. In sports, he was always on the bench. In college, he worked twice as hard just to stay afloat. And now, in the real world, he was nothing more than another nameless applicant among thousands. You should set realistic goals, Arian, his relatives had told him. Maybe success just isn't for everyone. But deep inside, he refused to believe that. He wasn't ready to accept defeat. Not yet. Lost in thought, Arian wandered into a small cafe, where an old man sat in the corner, observing him. Mr. Rohan, a retired entrepreneur, had seen that look before. The look of a man on the verge of giving up. "You seem troubled," Mr. Rohan said, sipping his tea. Arian hesitated before sitting down. "I work hard. I do everything right, yet I keep failing. I don't know what else to do." Mr. Rohan smiled knowingly. "Do you know the story of the bamboo tree? A farmer planted a bamboo seed and watered it every day. For 5 years, nothing happened. No sprout, no sign of life. People laughed at him, told him he was wasting his time. But in the 5th year, something incredible happened. The bamboo grew 80 feet in just 6 weeks. Why? Because for those 5 years, it was growing strong roots underground, preparing for its moment." Arian sat in silence, absorbing the words. "You are that bamboo, Arian. Just because you don't see results doesn't mean you're not growing." That night, Arian couldn't sleep. The words echoed in his mind. He realized he had been measuring success the wrong way, looking at outcomes instead of focusing on growth. The next morning, he changed his approach. Instead of sending generic applications, he researched each company, tailored his skills, and networked with industry professionals. He built better habits, started reading, exercising, and improving himself, not just for a job, but for his future. After weeks of relentless effort, he finally got a call. One of the biggest companies in the city had invited him for an interview. His heart pounded. This was his moment. The interview room was intimidating: bright lights, sharp suits, and piercing gazes. The hiring manager's voice was deep and calculating. "Tell me, Arian, why should we hire you?" For the first time, Arian didn't feel fear. He didn't recite memorized answers. He spoke from the heart. "Because I know how to fail, and I know how to rise again. I don't just work hard, I learn, I adapt, and I don't quit. I may not be the smartest, but I am the most persistent. And that is why I will be an asset to your company. Welcome to the team, Arian." "Mr. Rohan, I got the job." "I knew you would, son," the old man replied, a proud smile on his face. Arian stood by the window of his new office, looking at the city that once felt so cold and unforgiving. Now, it was full of opportunities. He had proven to himself that failure wasn't the opposite of success, it was a stepping stone to it. As Arian reflected on his past, he realized something. It was never about talent. It was never about luck. It was about resilience. Every failure had prepared him, made him stronger, and built the person he had become. Success isn't about how many times you win. It's about how many times you refuse to give up. To anyone listening right now, if you're struggling, if you're facing rejection after rejection, remember, you are like the bamboo tree. Keep growing. Your roots, your time will come. The world may not see your progress yet, but one day it will.